PMI, Kmart, Caleb Williams, will he and the Bears take a huge step forward this year?
Greeny, I think they will take a huge step. They won 5 games last year, so I'm going to think that number improves quite a bit, and here's why. Ben Johnson, number 1. I've heard he's been described as obsessive in the building, intense. I'm told when they don't break the offensive huddle properly, he makes them do it again. And not only just Ben Johnson, but the offensive line upgrades. Caleb took way too many hits last year. I think this is a good year for him. It almost feels like a reset of his rookie season,
yes.
But I do think he will do much of it.
Jeff Dongen made a really good point the other day on our show. He said in the same way that we had to just sort of write off Trevor Lawrence's rookie year because of the circumstances when Urban was there and everything else, that we write off last year for Caleb. It's like hitting the reset button. And everything they had gotten wrong there, including who his backup quarterback was and the way he's being coached and everything else in his offensive line, everything they got wrong there, Lewis, from the outside, it feels to me now like they've gotten right.
Yeah, look, Ryan Poles went to work this offseason, both in terms of reconstructing the roster and then obviously with the coaching staff. You know, one guy we don't talk about a lot, I think I talked about it, I don't know if it was on here or it was on another show. Look, remember the name JT Barrett, the quarterback coach now.
Yeah.
You saw in those clips right there working with Caleb. But wherever you go and you see quarterbacks really take big jumps in terms of their ascension as far as their efficiency, their mastery of the offense, a lot of credit obviously goes to the guy who's the primary play caller, and Ben Johnson's going to get a ton of it. But the guy who really is the dude who can bridge that gap between the play caller and what the quarterback is actually getting done is the quarterback coach. Josh McCown, just think about what he did for Sam Darnold the last year in Minnesota. JT has to be that guy for Caleb Williams. And I think if he's able to get that done, I think this football team will surprise, but they're in a hell of a division.
There's a lot of pressure on Caleb Williams for a variety of reasons. And the book that is coming out in September will be piled onto them. For better or for worse, I mean, all the stuff about him not wanting to be there, he tried to put that to rest last week. People can judge for themselves how they think that went. But there were a million excuses why everything went so wrong last year. There are none left. If he doesn't play great right now, particularly with that kid in Washington playing the way he's playing, who was drafted right behind him, I think there is a lot of heat on Caleb this year.
Particularly in the same city that just saw Mitchell Trubisky be selected before Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes in the last 10 years. So they will be looking at that bar of not only Jayden Daniels, but Drake May as well, who I think is going to take a massive leap in New England. Lewis mentions JT Barrett. Of course, Kimberly mentions all the players. But it's also Press Taylor's in the room now. Antoine Randall L's in the room now. Joe Tooney's in the room right now. There are so many additions to this team. And in the draft, they got him 2 more weapons in Loveland and, of course, Burden. So at some point, it is going to be on Caleb. And I can tell you that even the addition of Case Keenum in that room has been huge. Last year, he had Tyson Bagent and Austin Reed as his backup quarterback.
Yes, it was one of the worst ideas of the many terrible ideas.
And we knew that at Hard Knocks. We're watching it saying, wait, that's the quarterback room?
It didn't make sense at the time, and that brings us to the point that you continuously make.
Can I just push back on the expectations for Caleb just a little bit? I need us to take a step back from he needs to make the playoffs or else this has been a failure of a season. Like we said, it's a reset of the rookie season. I feel like you want to see a guy who looks comfortable, who knows where the football needs to go, who is playing within rhythm, who's playing on script, and you know, when he's running plays, the coaches aren't sitting there like, what is he doing? Like that, like I need us to just go back to basics because this is a new staff, a rookie head coach as well. So they will take a step forward. But let's not say if they don't make the playoffs that this has been another wash on Caleb.
I like that point. Lewis, to me, you don't necessarily have to judge the success or failure of this year by the one-loss record. This is a city. It's my favorite trivia question in the world. Name the only city that produced a Pope before it produced a 4,000-yard passer. Chicago was they've never had a quarterback throw for 4,000 yards. If they develop this kid, and we'll know it. You'll know it when you see it. By week 10, week 12, you'll know either he is or he isn't the first pick in the draft that we thought. If he is, then this is a successful season almost regardless of what the one-loss record is.
Yeah, I don't think a 4K season is something that's absurdly, overreaching or overstepping as far as you're trying to project what the season looks like. I think 4K, 25-plus touchdowns, single-digit interceptions. Here's the thing that he really needs to make sure that he cuts down on. And a lot of this is going to come on the players who line it up in front of him and the play-calling sequencing. But the sacks have to come down. You have to cut that at least in half. It has to be below 30. It has to be somewhere in the 20s. And a lot of that's going to be on him But I think even more of it, especially considering the number of unblocked looks that he got last year, or rather unblocked rushers that he was faced with, that's the kind of thing that you just cannot have. And I think if you can get all that going, and that sounds like a lot, I think you're looking at a serious breakout season to where now you're going, okay, now I see the real one-for-one comparison between Jayden and him.
Ben Johnson was the belle of the ball this offseason. He could have picked any of these openings. He sought out the Chicago job, and he sought that Chicago job out because of the quarterback, Caleb Williams, and the upside he sees. It's all there. The ingredients are all there. They just need to cook.
Okay, yeah, I completely agree. And again, I love the question on the screen. What would be a successful season?
Yeah.
It's about the quarterback.
Yep.
For the first time, basically ever, they've got to get that right. If they do, the wins will come, whether it's this year or later. Coming up as we do the NFL here, our next game is called Lions and Packers and Bears. Oh my! Lewis, I start with you. Will Jared Goff and the Lions take a step forward or a step back this season?
I think it's possible that Jared Goff can take a step back when you're talking about just raw statistics, whether it be QBR, touchdowns, completion percentage above expected. I think this football team, though, could take a step forward. Now, there's a lot of things that have to happen. Like, number one, they just need to stay healthy on the defensive side of the football. Number two, they're breaking in two new coordinators in John Morton and Kelvin Shepard, offense and defensive coordinators, respectively. But this football team could take a step up. And you see some of the guys you see flashing on your screen is the reason why. Just think about how beat up they were on the defensive side of the ball last year. If they can keep those guys healthy 3/4 of the season, this football team will be right there in the end.
That's the Lions. Let's go to the Packers. Peter Schrager. Will Jordan Love and the Packers take a step forward or back this year?
I believe they take a step forward. I think the NFC North is currently wide open. I think those departures in Detroit are real. I think the loss of Darnold and the transition to McCarthy might not be as seamless as everyone thinks in Minnesota. And I think the Packers can take this division by the horns. They add Matthew Golden. They add another wide receiver in the draft. And I like that they added an offensive lineman in free agency. And all of the coaching staff is back. I think Jordan Love takes a step forward, although there have been questions about his accuracy in big moments over the last couple of years.
And then finally, we had Lions, we had Packers. Let's get to the Bears.
Xin chào các bạn, ngày hôm nay trở lại với kênh của mình. Bây giờ mình sẽ hướng dẫn các bạn làm tiếp tục những dọc ở đây. Qua thường bao giờ bên cô lính ngủ, nhưng cô lính tự đưa ra, cô lính bảo là Việt Anh nó kiệt lắm rồi nha anh ạ. Nào em thật công mình. Nó không có đi à? Nó có đi làm đâu mà chả kiệt. Nó kiệt với người khác, nó không kiệt với con làm gì được. Qua Dương nó hỏi là thế cô Lý Sơn nhà con có kiệt không? Cô Lý bảo không, Sơn thì nó thoải mái, nó thoáng hơn nhiều.
Ủa, cái 4 thằng ấy đây.
Dương nó bảo
người đi 4 thằng kìa.
Sơn á